All right, let's go. Day number 31, basically the last day of the series, last day of December, last day of 2024. Uh, but basically, we're entering 2025, and honestly, nothing changes. It's just another day. It's true that the number changes, in our head we believe new year new me, but honestly like nothing really changes, right? Unless you drink a lot today and tomorrow you wake up with amazing new realizations, ideas, and so on. But in this last video, I want to talk about business because this is mostly a business oriented channel. And the main topic and the headline of this video most likely will be something along the lines of how to make business easy in 2025. Because as we know, like things always don't go as planned, right? So it's like life doesn't necessarily always get easier. And this pretty much applies to anything. Like even in business, usually it doesn't really get easier. You just get better, right? So that's the main thing. And what I want to focus on is basically more or less something that I was mentioning yesterday. So on day 30, if you haven't watched that one, I would recommend it. And the main thing I was actually mentioning there was the following: that you need to have a structure, like having systems, having goals, knowing how you are as a person, and then making sure that you do the things that you are comfortable with, right? And at the same time, today, when it comes to business, it is more or less the same, but let's not forget that we are focusing on other things. So this is actually more simple in business. Why? Because you don't have so many variables. You don't necessarily have, or you shouldn't, ideally, bring your emotions to it. But of course, we bring it. So I'll cover that as well. But there are, I would say, four things in order to get a result. And actually, the fourth one is the result. So the question is, how do we get to the result? So first of all, we need some goals, right? If we don't have a goal, if we don't have a direction, then of course, we just don't know where we're going. So there's no point in doing that in business unless you just want to wing it and don't care about having good results, right? So first of all, it's goals. Then it's the systems and the actions that you take. So I would say simply actions, but those actions ideally have some systems behind it, meaning that you don't take them just out of thin air. It's not like you go on a sales call, you don't send a message to someone and it's like, yeah, just random thing, right? Ideally you also have a system, a structure to it, a framework. And the third, that's another important one, which of course we don't really think about a lot, but it's our own personal emotions and habits. Because yeah, you take actions, but you won't take actions for 16 hours a day. So the question is, all right, how do you actually feel in between taking those actions? Or let's say, how do you feel after taking those actions? And by that, I mean the following. Many people, me included at times, we're probably doing some things we don't like, right? So every day we'll do some things that we don't enjoy, some things that maybe aren't really in our circle of competence, right? Meaning that you might do sales, but you're not the best at sales, right? Which is totally fine. That's how you get better. But the question is how we can do those actions and still enjoy life, right? Because I'm not a big proponent of like working hard and not enjoying life at all. Because let me give you an example. How do I actually, let's say, do outreach? So something that I don't really like sending cold DMs, sending cold emails. I don't really enjoy that much, but it's been helpful and I do need to do it at times. So what do I do alongside it? So I'm actually enjoying it more or less. And I found a few things that can help. So one of them would be to listen to a podcast in the background or listen to some kind of relaxing music. So I do try to pair it with something that I enjoy, right? So basically, this is how you can make your life much easier. Like any activity in business, you might not like it, right? But that doesn't mean that while doing it, you couldn't eventually start liking it, right? So by that I mean that I remember when I was a kid and I didn't like meat or apples, but when I found out that they are healthy, I started to eat them. And even though in the beginning I can't say necessarily that I was enjoying the taste and so on, but over time, I actually started to enjoy eating them. So basically, this applies to everything because with taste, you get used to it. With actions, you basically start seeing results. And of course, you like winning, correct? Think of it like this. Most billionaires in this world, it's not like they started from a young age thinking that, all right, I'm in love with the oil industry, I'm in love with the restaurants across the globe, i'm um, I'm in love with fast food, I'm in love with uh, think of anything that's boring, right? Because there are so many boring activities out there that can make you rich. Even agencies, like they're drag, and there's a limit to it. But this is one way to think about it because everyone wants the results, right? But first, you need goals to actually go into the direction that you want. But then in between, we also have actions and we also have our personal habits alongside those business actions because we all have life, right? And for example, this is how, in terms of how I'm thinking right now, how to make 2025 easier. Well, one of the hacks is to not think so much about myself, but actually think of the people I'm helping in one way or another. Because basically, if you're in business, if you're even an employee, whatever role you have, you actually are in contact probably with people or have an impact on people, right? So it's either you do sales, you talk with people, maybe you do coding, so you still have an impact on the user experience of different people on an app maybe or something like that. So all of us have an impact, right? For example, even myself, while doing paid ads, I basically get people to buy something, ideally something that's good for them. And yeah, fortunately, I'm not in the tobacco industry, so that's a plus. And at the same time, it's also about myself, my team, the brands that I work with. We all basically make more money. We all are happier. We all, ideally, we are happier, right? Making more money and also enjoying it, right? Because, for example, I'm not always enjoying looking at data or creating an ad, right? Sometimes it's so boring and easy at the same time. But that's why it's boring because it's so easy. But because I can probably do it on autopilot, I can also do something alongside it, right? Because sometimes you just need to kill the time, let's say, right? Otherwise, you'd probably be a millionaire if you would be mega efficient all the time. And we know we're not all mega efficient, but over time, we at least make things easier for us, which make things easier for us, which in turn gives us more time to do whatever we want, right? Some people just want to work more, so you'll fill that time with more work. Other people want to have more time with their kids, with their spouse, with their partner, with their friends, right? So we all have different goals. That's normal. But as long as we enjoy what we're doing, right, both in business and in our personal life, then things should be okay. And you can only do this by actually planning. I mean, things don't just fall. I mean, the pieces don't fall in place randomly, right? And actually, I'm more of a strategic person, so for me, this is something that I actually enjoy doing and so on. But yeah, it all starts, as we know, with setting some goals, having a direction, because direction is really important. So we'll end this video really quick here in a minute or two, but think of it like this. In the right direction, every step is the right one. In the wrong direction, every step is the wrong one. Because if you go in the wrong direction, you will eventually get there, even if you go left, right, and so on. If you go in the wrong direction, you'll still eventually die, let's say, right? If you go towards the place that you'll die. While if you go in the right direction, it doesn't matter if it's faster, if it's slower, if you take a detour or so on, because you still will get where you should be, let's say, to put it in simple terms here. So with that, we'll end 2024. I was thinking initially of having some kind of reflection, but maybe in another video. You can comment if you're still watching this and have anything you want to share about 2024, about the plans for 2025. But making a recap here. So basically, ideally, we set some goals, and I'm saying ideally just because I don't like to push people to do something that I'm saying, but this works for me. So it can work for many other people, and that's setting some goals, then looking at the actions that you need to take, then making sure those actions align with your habits, with your lifestyle, and then eventually you'll also get the results, because yeah, it's just a byproduct. Results are just a byproduct of what we're doing. So with that, we'll end. Happy New Year. Wait, I shouldn't have done that. Happy New Year, and basically see you tomorrow, and we'll definitely have a new series. So see you then. Happy New Year. See you next year.